Today we're talking about hashtag warning and hashtag error that was introduced in Swift 4.2 and it might be one of my all-time favorite new Swift feature additions. So let me show you how I use them. So here we are on some SwiftUI code. Don't worry about what the code does. That doesn't matter. We're talking about hashtag warning. So the way I use this is basically a replacement for to-dos. If you're not familiar with what to-dos are, it used to typically be something like this where you do / to-do in your comments. Refactor this into a separate view, right? I'll move that so now you can see my comments a little better. But that's what you used to do with the to-do. And you would have to search for to-do throughout your code base, and that's how you would find all your to-dos to go back and do them. Well, what hashtag warning does is that actually puts up a warning. See this little yellow 2 at the top with the warning? Those are previous ones I've done that I'll show you in a bit. But this makes it a warning so that you don't forget it. I mean, if you're like me, I hate seeing warnings on my Xcode. So if I see a warning, I'm gonna fix it. So here you do hashtag warning, and then you put a string message in here. And then that's where you would say refactor this cell. This is a table view cell, this HTAG, into a separate view. And that's the warning. Now if I do Command B, now you'll see my warnings will go up to 3. And then watch when I click this here, you see it shows up on my list of warnings here. Refactor the cell into a separate view. So I leave these to-dos all throughout my code base. Another example, right? I haven't refactored this screen yet. I could say hashtag warning, move this into the view model, right? This is my network call. Probably don't want that in your view. So we want to put that into our view model. So if I was refactoring the screen, or actually as I was building it, knowing I was writing a little bit of hacky code or not doing everything perfectly refactored at first because I'm trying to get it working, I leave these hashtag warnings throughout so I know to come back and fix this. As I was thinking of it, I leave these little breadcrumbs, if you will. So now I have all these hashtag warnings. Here's an example here. This was the dummy data I was using in the app before we had the network calls working. So I didn't want to get rid of that just in case maybe the database was down one time and I needed some dummy data. So I have this warning, right? Keeping this as a comment in case I need to quickly use a dummy order, right? And I keep that as a warning so I know eventually I need to go back and delete this whole file, right? I don't want to forget about it. So that's what hashtag warnings are. It's a great to do, but again, it triggers a warning, so it's really in your face, and that's what I like about it. Hey, fix this. So back to the view we were looking at. Let's talk about hashtag error. Now, warnings, obviously, your code will still compile, your app will run, it doesn't block you. Well, hashtag error, you can kind of imagine, that's gonna stop you in your tracks. So if I change this to hashtag error and say refactor this into a separate view, now it won't even let my code compile, right? It's hey, refactor this cell into a separate view. Now, I don't use this that often. When I use it is if I get interrupted. Sometimes maybe you're doing a big refactor or you're building a feature and in your mind or on your notes, you got 7 different balls in the air that you're trying to juggle to put this feature together. And when you're kind of in that state and maybe you get a phone call, maybe a coworker comes up and interrupts you, yanks you into a meeting, or whatever reason that you get interrupted, this is when I use a hashtag error. Because I don't want my code to compile because I want to be stopped in the middle of it. So I'll put a hashtag error and then I'll probably put a few comments with some notes in it just to remind myself where I left off, right? Because ideally, before you go to lunch or before you end for the day, ideally you get the code to a good place, commit, done, right? But again, shit happens. Sometimes you get yanked right mid-thought so I put up the hashtag error so I can't even compile my code. Because normally when you're in that state with 7 different balls in the air, your code's not in great shape. So that's when I use hashtag error. But again, 90% of the times I'm using hashtag warning. Again, as just these little breadcrumbs, reminders for myself to go back and fix things in my code. Hope you enjoyed that little tip. If you like my teaching style, my presentation style, I started creating my own courses, so you can check out the website on the screen. You can watch the first 10% of each course for free to see if it's something you might be interested in. So go check that out and we'll see you in the next video.